Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Lest We Forget World War II Museum. Today we have a home game, so to say. A friend of mine showed me a pistol that I thought was worth sharing with y'all. So he was kind enough to lend this to me to shoot this. The German military had a tradition that the higher ranking the officer, the smaller the pistol. So I'm guessing this guy was pretty high ranking. This is a 25 caliber Ortiz. Now, Ortiz made pistols between 1919 and 24, and most of them were in 32 caliber or 7.65 millimeter. And the Germans used them in competitions. Apparently they were very, very accurate pistols. Well, in any case, this one's in 25 caliber. But what's interesting about this piece is that it has SA markings on the grip. So Mitch, if you're able to zoom in on that, get a good still of that SA marking. So it's like they were branded in. I'll show you the other side. You ready? I'll show you the other side. Also has an SA marking on the grip. So I would assume that this pistol was carried by a high-ranking SA officer, or as the German soldiers called them, a golden pheasant. So here's the holster that goes with it, and interesting enough, it has a wolf's rune in it. I don't know what that wolf's rune means. And then AK. So if anybody knows any research into a high-ranking SA official that has the initials AK associated with the wolf's rune, let me know. But something of interest on the back of this holster, and it might be hard for you to capture, there's an eagle, a police eagle B stamped, but that pebbled grain makes it difficult to see. Police Eagle B. Are you able to pick it up? Good. So I guess this pistol or holster had something to do with the police as well. To give a frame of reference, here's an American 45 1911 in comparison. See the size. Well, this is an interesting 1911 if you look at the markings on it. That walked in one day. So, I'll tell you a little story about a golden pheasant. I knew a German paratrooper named Wilhelm Gestenberger. Willy was his Spitzname, his nickname. He was a very kind gentleman. When I met him, I introduced myself as George Cone from Texas, and he smiled real big at me and he says, "I've been to Texas." I said, "Yeah, what were you doing there? Were you on business or did you have family? What was going on? Vacation?" He looked me square in the eyes and he said, "I was a POW." "Oh, well, how did you enjoy your stay? Did they treat you well?" He had a lot of good stories. He passed away, old Willie. Mitch, you might pull a picture of him off the website. So he told me that they were in the Eastern Front. I want to say they were in Poland. They were retreating. It was bad. Excuse me. They were getting shot up. And their cook, who was a big jovial guy, who was everybody's friend, had been gut shot. And he volunteered to stay behind on the machine gun to give cover while the troops escaped. And he said they got to a little village in Poland and there were some high-ranking SA officers. He called them golden pheasants, golden pheasant, that had a truck loaded up with Polish women and furniture and art. And he said they were fleeing west. And they came across these guys and they said, "Hey, we need to requisition this truck for for our unit, we've got wounded men here, we need to get out. And these SA guys said, no, you can't have the truck. We're on our way. We're out of here. We outrank you, la-di-da. And I remember Billy said, we're combat troops. We've just come out of frontline combat against the Russians. We're armed to the teeth. He said, we trained our weapons on these guys. Or no, excuse me. He said the golden pheasant pulled out his pistolshin, which would be a pistolet, tiny pistol. He said he pulled out his tiny pistol and he pointed it at us. And he said, we all aimed our machine guns and submachine guns and Panzerfaust, etc., at him, in which case he was intimidated and he relented, and they took the furniture and threw it off the truck and loaded their wounded men in there, and the Polish women did escort them. They all went west. So that's a story of an SA guy, a golden pheasant, with his little pistol on the Eastern Front, absconding with art and Polish women, while the other guys are fighting and dying. So, ladies and gentlemen, another episode from the Lest We Forget World War II Museum. Signing off.